Welcome to PD on the Go, everyone. This is the podcast that delivers bite-sized learning opportunities for you all on communication, collaboration, and facilitation, and it's geared towards busy teacher leaders. So tune in while you're in the car, on your lunch break, while you're making copies, or get ready to really level up your leadership skills today. So my name is Rebecca Hazelbeck, and I'm joined by my colleagues from the Office of Professional Learning in Fairfax County Public Schools. So I'm here today with
Erica Williams. Hello.
Hi, I'm Hallie Case.
I'm Mary Beth Anderson.
And on today's episode, we're going to really dig deeply and go into ways to share ideas for how to move from lone leadership to really this idea of shared leadership. So I want to start by thinking about what are some of the challenges that exist when there's lone leadership on a team. So Hallie, what are you thinking?
Yeah. So I think the first thing that comes to mind is burnout. That if you're working with your collaborative learning team and you're the CLT leader and you find yourself really doing all the work and not sharing that leadership, it gets exhausting. And it's hard to continue to want to do that, to be in that role because of that exhaustion. And so I think sometimes that type of model can burn people out. Yeah.
Yeah, and then what happens when that person leaves, right? So if they're the one who has been making the agenda and bringing the resources, attending the meetings, and then that person leaves, what happens with the rest of the team? And that the progress that you made moving forward might take a few steps back.
I also feel like in addition to that, you could feel overwhelmed. So the lone leader could feel overwhelmed with this idea that all of the responsibility falls on their shoulders, and that then means that the team may not have ownership over some of the decisions or some of the things that need to be accomplished.
Yeah, and thinking about the rest of the team too, often in schools, the team leader or the facilitator gets a lot of training. They go to a team leaders meeting, right? And they're learning about how to facilitate and how to work in a collaborative meeting, but the rest of the team isn't getting that training. So what happens is I have all this knowledge and maybe the rest of the team doesn't know about the processes or the structures or the protocols that I'm putting in place. And what that creates is, one, when someone leaves, or two, they aren't on the in of like how a team might operate or work together. And so everybody deserves that training to be able to lift up the team together.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing up those perspectives of the team, because when I first answered Rebecca's question, I was thinking about it as like viewing myself as the lone leader. But because it impacts that person, but it also impacts the team. I mean, it's huge to feel like, to be on a team and feel like you don't have any decision-making power. Why even go to the meeting? Or like, I feel like it could give a sense of, we can't trust you with making this decision or contributing to the collaboration in this area, so we're just going to tell you what to do. That's disheartening, and it's not really why anyone gets into education, right? Like people, we work with really creative people who have lots of ideas around how they would want to approach something, and so I think if there's a lone leader, unintentionally, a consequence could be that people show up and don't feel as able to share those ideas.
So you all bring up really good points. The idea of the teacher just burning out and not being able to really shoulder all of that weight along with their normal duties that they already have every day. Yeah. They're also doing this extra thing probably for free. And it's not easy to be able to plan a meeting. There's a lot of different steps that go into it in order for you to be able to accomplish your outcomes. You talked a little bit about it being overwhelming. You talked about the idea that maybe the team's not owning the different structures, the different ideas around the table, and just one person is owning it. I feel like you're talking a lot about building capacity as well and what that might look like. So I want to think about that. How can teams leverage each other and their strengths in order to share the load so that this idea of lone leadership sort of goes away?
I mean, I think it's when you know what your teammates like to do or maybe what's important to them, their values. I think being able to then distribute tasks as a team, talking about, let's put all of the things that we have to do on the table. Who might like to do this, who might like to do that, and distributing across the team is probably going to support more ownership, more enjoyment, and collaboration too. Yeah.
I think another thing that comes to mind for me is having a common vision, like understanding together and maybe doing some work together around what's our shared purpose. When we come to collaborate together, what's the reason we're saying we're doing that? Are we all agreeing? Are we all on the same page? Because if we all own the vision, then people are more likely to bring ideas to the table that align with what that vision is. And that's when you can see things like other team members contributing to the agenda items, right? Or distributing tasks like Erica shared, but maybe also distributing facilitation roles. Like I could facilitate the first agenda item and Erica could facilitate the second one. So distributing in that way as well. And knowing that you're leading and facilitating from that shared vision can keep people aligned.
Yeah, and maybe figuring out how you distribute that goes back to what you were talking about, like how to leverage strengths, right? Or what someone's really passionate about. Because I almost see it as two things, just what you had shared, Hallie, is like, how do we share the tasks and how do we share our facilitation, right? Because somebody needs to support the group in the process. So taking turns with that, taking turns with the tasks, and you could lift up strengths to decide who does what.
Well, and I think when you lift up strengths, that's a way of building capacity. Because then you see how other people are working, and it's almost like a model. And when you mentioned earlier, Mary Beth, about how team leaders benefit from professional development around some of those leadership skills, if it's not possible for an entire team to attend that leadership team meeting or guiding coalition meeting, then I think another way to build capacity is for that team meeting to bring the learning back to their team and spend a couple minutes sharing what that learning was so that other people can benefit from it and practicing those skills together.
Oh, it's like putting the L back in CLT,
Yeah.
right? We talk a lot about collaborative learning teams, and for a while we got away from that learning together and kind of just said a CT meeting, it's a collaborative team, but we do need to do some learning together to be able to build the capacity for shared leadership.
Yeah. And sometimes I think that when we're talking about really sharing responsibility and distributing facilitation, sometimes the work gets messy. I mean, there's also the perspective that I might do it differently than how Hallie might, or Mary Beth or Rebecca. And there are so many ways that facilitation can look. There's so many ways that the team can be productive, and it might be some bumps along the way to get to that shared leadership, and that honesty and that open communication with each other, I also think matters when you're really trying to strengthen the collaboration and the collectiveness across the team too.
Okay, well, we've talked a little bit about what happens when there's lone leadership, and also how can we leverage each other's strengths, and what are some of the ways we do that on our team?
Yeah, so I think when we get assigned a project, we often start to talk about that project and share the details, and then we think, who's really excited about this? Or we pay attention to who perks up, and we'll say, well, that sounds like you're on that, Rebecca, so just jump in, or kind of see who has ideas about it moving forward, and then that person can kind of voice what else they need.
Yeah, and I think we bring honesty to the table too, because we say to each other, like, I have a lot of energy around this project. Like, I really want to do this one, right? And we sort of pick each other up in that way.
And I think we're also honest of like, my plate's really full. I do have a lot of passion around this. I don't think we often get projects where we are like, it's a dud, no one wants it. like we like it all. Right. But sometimes our plates are just really full. So like, I wonder how that translates into the school setting, right? Where on our team, it is just the four of us on a team. and I wouldn't say we have a team leader, but I would say that sometimes we flow in and out of team leader depending on like what we need to talk about or what the project is. And so I have seen that done in schools as well, where there's not one specific team lead, that it flows in and out. You know, what are you thinking, Erica?
Well, I was thinking that even within our meetings, we may have a 30-minute meeting and each one of us are in the lead role for a moment. There is a comfort level and there's trust that we have with each other to be able to pick up that leadership right in the moment, that really helps us to own the work, because there's not one person whose way is the right way. It's all of our ways, because we value each other and see the importance of all of our voices.
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good point.
Okay, well, thank you all so much for engaging in this conversation. I feel like I learned so much from you all from this today. And thank you all for joining us today. You can find more resources, and we'll make sure we post our Strengths Finders tool on our website, on our Instagram. So you can find more resources and ideas related to today's topic on our Instagram, which is at FCPS_PD. So make sure you join us next week for more PD on the Go. We look forward to seeing you all.